So 561 Music now has a hotline. You can call us anytime at 561-203-9122 and ask us any questions you like. Some humorous ones or something about the guests we've had on the show, or questions about gear, or questions about the festival, or anything you like. It's, of course, 561-203-9122. We would love to hear from you. We did a pretty fun little message, so you get to hear that too. Even if you just call up to listen to me and Hector trying to do a good phone message, that's a good enough reason. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch.
Take a better scene. It's what we're doing. Come and check it out. It's what we're all about. 561 Music.
Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
What are you giggling about?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either, but I like it.
It's all good. It's all good.
So, it's been crazy weather lately, raining a lot.
It's been stupid weather, and I hate it because I do the real estate photography stuff, and I can't fly a drone in the rain. I mean, I can, but it really sucks.
Also, rain is your nemesis.
It is my nemesis, man. It's like, I'm like Bruce Willis in that movie. Like, when I get wet, I'm like, ah!
Yeah, it's adorable, actually.
It's kind of stupid, but yeah.
I'm sure I have something that I'm sort of unrealistically sort of irritated by, but yours is definitely rain.
Oh, no, it's 100% it's rain.
Yeah.
No,
so, yeah, quite an interesting weekend. Thursday, we were meant to play Clematis by Night, but then it got cancelled.
By the rain. See, I told you it was my nemesis.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'll take that one. But it was pretty fun because we did like a really loud, awesome sound check, and it turns out that the guy who was doing our sound is doing a great job. So when we go back there in June, it's going to sound.
Yeah, he
badass.
dialed it in, and then he I guess he locks in those settings or something, so that when we go back, it's at the very least, it's a really good starting point for us. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the wonders of modern technology.
And the two people that were sitting there listening to the sound check thought it sounded good, so that was good.
Yeah, exactly. One of whom was spectacular, but anyway, we won't get into that. And then on Friday, what were we doing on Friday? We went
to Kilted Mermaid.
Kilted Mermaid, that's it.
It was a fun crowd there Friday night.
Yeah, dude.
It was a good show.
No, it was, and I always like playing there. It's not a big place, but the vibe is just, it's perfect, you know?
If James was here right now, he'd slap you for saying vibe.
I know, he hates it when I say vibe, doesn't he? And I get it. You know,
I don't know.
It's a stupid word.
Yeah. And then what did we do Saturday? Saturday we played at the Canyon Amphitheater.
Yeah.
For Legends on the Lawn. So now we're legends, right?
Yeah,
we're officially legends now.
Well, in order to be booked, we had to have already been legends. So we've been legends.
That
man.
makes way more sense now. It makes way more sense now.
Yeah, totally. No, that was a good time. There was a bunch of people there. I'd never been to that part of Palm Beach County, like West Boynton.
No, it was a group of ladies that got up and started line dancing literally to every single song we played. It didn't matter what we played, they were line dancing.
Yeah, super fast songs. I wasn't sure if it was line dancing or the electric slide, but it was something.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, totally.
A little bit of both.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, and we'd play like a slow song. They'd find it. We'd play like our fastest, craziest songs, and they'd be right there on the beat. They knew what they were doing, man.
Yeah,
and
then the guy came up and said he was celebrating his 26th anniversary and asked us for some Johnny Cash. So we played Folsom Prison Blues for his 26th anniversary.
You know what it was? Do you remember? He wanted Stevie Wonder. He wanted like a love song.
He wanted some R&B, and that's just not us. So
yeah, and then we went through all these different songs that we knew, and I think the only thing that he really genuinely liked out of it was Johnny Cash. So and the one that he wanted, the way we play it, it speeds up.
So
they were doing this sort of like close, sort of like slow dancing.
They got up and started slow dancing, and then we just got faster and faster and faster. They gave up and sat down at one point.
I mean, we had two options. We could have done a really lame version of it, or just done what we always do. And I think that we did what we always do, because at a certain point in the middle of the song, we were like, what, do we just stop, or do we just go for it, you know? And we went for it.
We did the right thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I don't think he wasn't upset.
Yeah, exactly. No. I think it was fun. He had a good time. He was a nice bloke. He wants me to play he wants us, I should say, to play at his brother's wedding.
Nice.
So
he said something like up in New York or something, or Jersey or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be good times, man.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we have the Smokeboss Militia with us today. How's it going, guys?
It's going
Great.
great. Thanks for having us, fellas.
Yeah, man. Do me a favor and get into
Oh,
this.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Get nice
I've
and-
never
nice
been on
and
a
close.
podcast before,
Nice
so
and
this is awkward.
It's my fault. I should have told you before. But
I agree.
yeah. So we have Andy, Lucia, and Bill. Thanks so much for coming.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah. And it's nice to have a fellow English person on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Well, sort of in the Kent area, and then in the last few years, London.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah. My sister lives in London. I was born in London, but then I ended up. I don't know. I don't know if anyone cares, but Andover is where most of my family lives.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice part of the country.
Yeah,
That would
absolutely.
have been way
Yeah.
way better if like Bill would have said, "Oh, I'm from London," and you didn't answer at all, and then we would all have been, "Wait a minute, what?"
Let's start over.
That was good.
oh, I'm not
Good
English.
bits.
What?
So, the question we usually start with is, how did you find yourself getting into music? Like, what were your early formative musical years? Like, were your parents supportive, stuff like that? And I think that a good way of doing it would be to just go from right to left and start with you, Andy.
Well, all right. I always loved music. It wasn't until I started playing the harmonica when I was 13 or 14 a little bit with some bands. But my big just eye opener was my stepbrother, who was quite a bit older than me. When we moved into his father's house, when his father married my mother, it gets confusing. But anyway, he left this huge crate of old records that were just Jimi Hendrix and Steel Pulse and Led Zeppelin and just a really wide array
Oh, cool.
of stuff. And that was when I really started to realize that music wasn't just music like it was to most. It was really something that
It's
I
like
aspired to.
important,
Yeah.
That's
That
awesome.
I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah, I think those early formative experiences really shape how you view music, going forward. My mum had a big vinyl collection, and it was important to me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, did you ever have any lessons on anything?
I did have some guitar lessons for about a year. Like in 9th grade, I broke my collarbone for the 3rd time, and I thought, oh my God, how am I going to meet girls if I can't play football in high school?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to get a guitar. And I took lessons with this great guy, Ratso Girardi, who's
Ratso Girardi.
He's a
That's an
legend
awesome name.
in Stamford, Connecticut, and Southern Connecticut in that area. He's just legendary guitar player. He'd come downstairs, he had this basement studio. He'd come down and say, "You guys ready to rock?" And he'd be wearing his karate gi because he just came from karate. Just
what a legend.
amazing dude. Hi, Ratso, if you're watching. But yeah, and after that, I found I was playing different kinds of music with different groups of friends. It was just interesting how I had the punk kids and the Irish traditional buddies, and I was just trying to get in anywhere I could. I just found it was so much easier to learn about my playing by playing with other people, and then playing with other instruments became even more important once I sort of got the basics. Like, okay, but how does this work with a bass and a drum set, and keyboards, and that kind of thing?
No, I think it's playing with other people, especially early, is really important. Is what it's all about, ultimately.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for me anyway. I know that there's plenty of people out there who only play by themselves and do so very well. But the part I like about it is the community of it and the feeling you get when you're playing with other people.
Absolutely. There's nothing. Well, there's a few things, but not much compares.
For sure. What about you, Lucia? How did you find yourself getting into music?
Well, I sort of had the enforced piano lessons as a
Yeah, me too.
young kid and all that stuff. But then my brother made a guitar, and I ended up sort of getting drawn to that.
He made it.
Yeah, he made it from sort of a kit or something.
Oh, cool.
And then so I started being much more interested in that, and played that for a few years, piano on and off. And then just sort of, when I was a student in London, I was just moving around everywhere. My friend sat on my guitar, so that was that. And then, I didn't have a piano either. We were just sort of in and out of different flats all over the place.
Sure, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but I was always drawn to I think was a kid, we used to watch a lot of spaghetti westerns. I always
Yeah.
loved the kind of banjo sound, and so I eventually came sort of full circle and ended up playing that, after I moved here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's funny. It was right around the time that like Frank Turner became a thing that it sort of turned me back on to and like when Oh Brother Where Art Thou came out and all that stuff kind of turned me back on to really turned me on at all to country music and bluegrass and stuff, and all those like coffee table albums like the Alison Krauss and stuff like that. That was really important to me when all that stuff came out, and then to the point really where even the band I was playing and I was getting itchy feet because I was just dying to start playing stuff like that. Then when I moved here, I was like, well, what? I'm in America. I may as well just jump in with both feet. Yeah. Seems like you can sort of relate to that because you just picked it. So you started playing it when you moved here?
After I moved here, I started playing guitar again when I moved here, but then I bought a banjo right before COVID hit, and I picked it up. I thought it was going to be easier, but then when COVID happened, I thought okay, this is a good chance to actually sit and try and learn this thing. So
how long have you been here?
Actually, over 20 years, believe it or not.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, when I say I've been here 13 years now, and they always go, still got the accent, but I was 30 when I moved here.
You don't really lose that. I mean, I used to work with a bunch of Brits as well, so we were always talking all day and sort of, so I didn't really lose it.
And also, it's almost like it doesn't stop you from doing anything, and it can be helpful in certain situations. For better or worse, everyone remembers you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you call someone up on the phone and you're like, oh, it's that British person.
That crazy banjo English lady.
Yeah,
Doesn't wait from around these parts, are you?
Yeah, exactly. It can be helpful. It can also be a little bit, not so helpful, depending on who it is. I always think as well with playing country and bluegrass. So I have it particularly badly because I'm English and I play like a ton of Irish music, and so people half the time just don't even know what to. They're like, okay, so you're English, but you're playing like country, bluegrass, and Irish music.
They actually come up to the band all the time and say, go up to Ben and say, "What part of Ireland are you from?"
Right. Yes.
To which he usually replies, "The English part."
Exactly. Yeah, but I mean, my dad and my mum both had tons of Irish blood. I could get an Irish passport if I wanted to, but like a million other English people. But I don't know. I was born in England. Not going to deny that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
But
in a way.
You've been here a long time too? Or?
13
Oh,
years.
sorry, you did just say that.
Yeah. But you beat me though. 20 years.
Yeah.
All right. So Bill, what about you, man? How did you find yourself getting into music?
I was the kid in class who got kicked out of class for using my desk as a percussion instrument and inciting conga lines in gym class.
Amazing.
And near riots. So
you had the rhythm from a young age then.
Yeah, it always appealed to me. My brother was about 8 and got a toy drum set and got bored with it, and I thrashed it into kindling within about a year. And I didn't actually start really taking it seriously till my teens,
right?
And didn't start playing professionally till my mid-20s.
Gotcha. Did you end up having lessons at any point?
Only for a short while. When I was just formative, there was a guy who was a great jazz drummer from Lake Worth named Harris Johnson, and he has since died. Unfortunately, I was there at the hospital when he died.
Oh, man. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I think he had a instant brain bleed that made him totally incapacitated, and he didn't last much longer. But he was a great guy, great teacher, great drummer, and he did a lot of work in the sobriety field as well, helping a lot of people. So.
Excellent. Yeah, wow, I can respect that. Absolutely. So the band, how long's the band been together?
The band has been a band since last December. We basically...
I thought you were going to say last week.
No, I moved to Florida in September of 22. 21? Right, 21.
How did you guys all find each other?
And I had I'd recently gotten sober, and I'd
Yeah.
recently put my guitar down. You know, it just was such a trigger that I just stopped playing for a while.
Same with me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had to kind of work on it, but I didn't. Something about it like disgusted me for a little while.
Yeah, it was just like it's got me in the wrong mindset. I'm just not, just go walk out of the living room, look at the guitars on the wall, and be like, they're staying up there today.
Yeah.
But so I moved here, and this was when I was living in San Diego. I moved here, and I just got the itch. I started going to the beach and playing, and started pulling out some of the old stuff, because I'd been doing punk rock for the past 20 or so years.
Yeah, I mean,
Before
seeing
that,
as you brought it up, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, sure.
I know about it, but
In about 2000, I moved out. I had moved to New York City for the past 5 years. Things had just sort of fallen apart. I think a lot of that was drinking related. But anyway,
Sure.
I went back to Southern Connecticut and Portchester, New York, where all my friends, my old buddies and musician buddies had all sort of, convened. And we started this skate punk band called the Board Lords. At about the same time I had written all these songs that weren't punk and all, but the Board Lords took off like
Right.
in a mini scene kind of way. We
the
sort of
coolest name
reinvigorated
Yeah.
everything for a while, just that was punk and hardcore, and it was just brilliant. It was so great.
Wicked, man.
But the other stuff just kind of fell by the wayside. Things happened. I married a girl, moved to California. That didn't work out, so I lived in L.A. and then had a great job for a couple of years. But then I moved to San Diego, and that's where I met Rat City Riot. I just met the drummer one night at
Right.
this show I got dragged to. He's like, "Hey, man," I was wearing a Fear shirt. He's like, "Oh, yeah, we couldn't make it last week. Sorry." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're in a punk band?" Because this band I'd been dragged to by this friend of mine who, and he was filling in for somebody, but it was this, a guy with really long hair and a fan and a light
Right,
box he
okay.
was standing on. So it wasn't great, but I was like, the drummer's really good though. So
Yeah.
But anyway, he's like, "Yeah, well, we got a tour booked in Europe in about 6 weeks, for 8 weeks, and our guitarist just quit." And I was like, "I'm your man. Let's go."
There you go.
And so I went home and learned a few of their songs, and next thing you know, I was in the band.
That's cool. How long were you in the band?
And I was in the band until 2020 when the band split up.
So how many years is that?
That was 11 or so.
on my
Wow.
feet. Math is pretty bad.
Yeah. About 11 years. And that was about the time I got a few months before that I'd gotten sober. But the band was clear. It was just all showing all the signs. The guitar player was really into raising his family, not going to be able to tour for a few years, couldn't leave his
Okay.
daughter. Nothing I'm really slighting anybody for, but the band was not a priority
Life was just
anymore.
getting in the way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and COVID hit, and we were all stuck in our houses, and it was California, so we really had to stay in your house. And, and I was getting sober, but I'd sort of, during those last couple of years, started picking up the old tunes and picking at some stuff that wasn't even kind of punk. And that was the thing. Rat City Riot we were touring a couple of times a year for the first couple of years in Europe, and then they sort of slowed down, and I was like, well, I'm not going to slow down. So I'd gotten this nickname, the Smokeboss, in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
It's a long story, but anyway, so I started touring as the Smokeboss, just doing solo.
Nice.
I started doing more punk stuff, just acoustically. And then it
And
just
is
sort
that
of
what you went to Europe with?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I did
'Cause
that a
I'd
couple
already-
of times too, like those sort of like acoustic punk type tours.
Yeah, it started like that, but I started doing, branching out into the old, the different kinds of, I've always been into so many different kinds of music.
Sick.
And it just sort of branched like that. And those were the most successful tours I had, because, you don't have a van, you don't,
Yeah.
load in is, I'm ready.
Yep.
Guitar cases on the stage, what do you want?
Unfortunately, when I was doing those kind of tours, I was still drinking, so
Yeah.
they weren't very successful.
No, I was drinking too, but
Right,
it was the Rat City Riot crew was the drinking. We were more popular because of our drinking, I think, because we hung out after the show and partied with everybody all
I know
the time.
that's something I worried about a lot when I stopped drinking was, are people going to want to come out and see a band who you know, I was like, are we like a buzzkill? Turns out it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. And I had the same thing. And I wonder if it's the same. In Europe, it might be more of an issue because they just don't have alcoholism that they recognize as alcohol. They're like, oh, drink or you're not a real person, you know?
No,
it's different culture.
It has been changing. It's getting better, but it definitely is for real different. Yeah, very different. Yeah.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But so I moved here, started doing open mics, and that's how I met Lucia. And I guess through Lucia we met Bill, and but most of the banders just either people I met through Lucia or people I met through these open mics. Which because the scene here is so fan, you can just go anywhere.
Yeah,
and every club has a great, you know. And, you know, obviously not everybody's brilliant, but most of the folks you see playing have at least something to contribute, you know? It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, every time, it's funny, every time I ask, we do this podcast and I also write for this magazine called Livewire, and one of my questions in that is how do you find the Florida scene? And everyone always says, people talk shit about the scene down here, but it's really good. Yeah. But everyone says that, so it's like, who are the people? Like
who are the people talking the shit?
I know,
right?
and why?
Well, but the flip side of that is if you don't have people talking shit about you, you don't have a scene.
Yeah, yeah.
It's only a scene when a larger group is looking at it, you know, refuting it or saying it's no good or something like that.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that kind of public perception of Florida as like sort of America's waiting room for death, you know, with like has this kind of, and so it's like there couldn't possibly be anything cool going on, but there is.
There really is.
Yeah,
but there isn't. If you're listening from out of state, don't come to Florida.
Don't come to
All
Florida.
those stories are true.
It's terrible.
We're horrible place
already.
to live.
Anyway.
It's terrible.
Yeah, cool. So where did we get up to? We got up to the present day, I guess.
Oh, right. So, things have just been snowballing in a good way. It's just fantastic. We've had all these opportunities to play all these great places. The Brewhouse Gallery gave us basically our first gig, and that's our home. You know, Jo is such a wonderful lady. Hi, Jo. I hope you're watching.
Ever? She's been super supportive of me over the years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, absolutely.
Fantastic, and Millard too. They're just great folks, and that was such a great, just to
AJ,
find a home first.
Yeah.
And then you just feel like, okay, now let's take this place. Let's go everywhere we can, play for anyone we can.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about any of the nonsense most people worry about their whole life. Let's just play.
Yeah.
Let's just get that going. Then we'll worry about, you know, all the other nonsense you're supposed to worry about as a rock and roll band. You know?
Sure. No, that's great. I'm glad it's, you know, you've been having so much fun with it and it's all been going so well. It's exciting. So earlier you were talking to me about recording. I don't know if you want to tell me about it or someone else, but I'd love to hear a little bit about how you've been recording your album that you're going to bring out.
Well, Bill introduced, and I'll let Bill take this one, but Bill introduced us to this genius, Guy Galtieri, who he's got a master's in engineering, and he does a lot of live recording too, but he's got basically every mic you can ever think of, and this whole setup. He set up a studio in Lucia's house to do the drums.
Right.
But I'll let you talk about Guy.
Guy and I were in a band called Numb, mid to late 90s, primarily covers, but we did some original stuff too. Really talented guy, good singer, rapper, guitarist, keyboard player. One of those rare guitar players who never wants to take a solo. He's happy only playing rhythm. He's the only one I know who
really.
qualifies.
I'm a guitar player.
Hi, Bill.
I can't claim that.
Hi.
Oh yeah, and then there's Andy, of course. But he got his master's from Berkeley and had some recording projects with me where he recorded some of my drums while he was earning his degree. And now, you know, I recommend him all over town. He'll come to you, and
I've got him on socials and stuff, and I guess I just don't know him super well, but that's awesome. You guys have been recording there. Where exactly are you doing that again?
We did some of the rhythm tracks at Lucia's house. We just did some overdubs at Guy's house up in Palm Beach Gardens. So
We've just been working at Guy's just so we didn't have to cart everything down to Lake Worth anymore.
Gotcha. Do you guys all live in Lake Worth?
I'm in Lake Worth Beach.
I'm in Jupiter.
Oh, there you go. Me too.
I'm in Lake Park.
Gotcha.
So am I.
There you go.
That's right. Yeah, you're close by.
Yeah, so we've been playing a lot of similar gigs lately, and apparently we also live in similar areas. Maybe we just all need to like join up and be the same band.
There you go. we've got more people than most ska bands right now, so you're just all welcome. Come on.
The
There you
Smokeboss Killbillies. Smokeboss Billies.
How many of you are there in total then?
There's 7 of us right now. There was 8, but yeah.
Why don't you shout out all the people who aren't here?
Well, I should. Yes, we have Jeffrey the Viper Sullivan on lead guitar, who's a local celebrity and has a great hat.
Goes a long way, a great hat.
We have what's that? I'm sorry.
It goes a long way, a great hat.
It really does.
Yeah.
We have Arturo and Jet Afanador. Arturo's our bass player. Jet is our accordion player.
Okay.
And we have John Ace, who is this fully bluegrass, dyed-in-the-wool bluegrass fiddle player and mandolin player.
Neat.
He is just, I've learned so much from this guy. I mean, from all of these guys, for sure. But John just comes from a different world.
Yeah.
And he said so. And he's like, but I heard him talking. He's like, the cool thing, it's a challenge here. I feel challenged. This music is interesting to me. And,
Sure.
And so that brought him in because it's not his
Well,
not his
if
bag
you're
of
really
beans.
a bluegrass person, then it's pretty. I mean, it's quite a narrow. It's very specific. Like, this is bluegrass.
Extremely specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go on any of those bluegrass forums or whatever, that they're so mean. So just like about everything is unbelievable. But like I love bluegrass. Love to listen to bluegrass. But I mean, Killbillies is just like anathema to big bluegrass fans. It's like we use feet drums. They'd be like, oh,
drums. What is drums? Yeah. John. The first time we played with John, he was like, I don't know, man. I was here, earplugs, and over here, and he's like, oh, okay. But yeah, they just don't have the drums in there, and it's incredible.
Plugging in your instruments is a big
Purists.
And actually, it's not fair because we have played bluegrass festivals and they've been really, really nice to us. But I know that, there's a little bit of muttering behind our back.
Right. Wait, and not to say that they're wrong or anything. They're just very, very dedicated to a very specific way of approaching music, basically.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's important in a way because it's preserving something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place for all of that.
Absolutely.
If you just you don't have your eye on what, like the thing you're trying to preserve, and everything just sort of ends up like whatever. Then I guess you could you're at risk of losing something. Maybe I don't know if that's true or not, but
I love that he's kind of come out of his comfort zone completely, and he's like, he says, oh yeah, that's Smokeboss. He certainly challenged me. He's like,
oh, what a good lad.
And he's
good
just,
for you.
Yeah, he's got an excellent ear, and he just goes with it.
And Lucia plays in another band called the Gypsy String Revival, and that's where John came from. Like her lead singer in that band found John playing on the street one day and took him home, basically.
Michelle Pennington, who's in the band with the three of us, and she met him on this at the Green Market.
That's right.
Oh,
And
cool.
then invited him to a jam, and so he came along, and that was great.
That's perfect.
And
But, I don't know if I've ever seen Gypsy String Revival. Is that like more bluegrassy?
yeah, it's a bit more bluegrassy. Yeah. We have different members. Actually, John's seasonal. He comes back and forth,
Right.
and so we have other people, stepping in.
Yeah, cool.
John's what we call a snowfish. He sails his boat down half the year.
That's like 100% cooler.
Right, yeah.
Like, that's pretty badass, actually.
Yeah.
Copyright, trademark, Andy Mensing, Smokeboss Militia.
It's funny because the gig that we played, the Legends on the Lawn out in Boynton, I heard the people setting up the lights, and they were like, "Oh, there's only 3 of you. You should have seen this other one we had to do. There was like 1 million people here, micing up this, micing up there."
We're like, I think we know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like watching us all setting up, like,
That's really funny. There is something nice about the sort of streamlinedness of only having 3 guys, but anytime we get a fiddle player, it just melts me. It immediately makes it sound better.
I saw the video of Patty King playing with you guys. That was really he's
so
such
good.
a great
Every
player.
time he plays with us, we're always like, we should have him in the band. He should just be the 4th member.
Unfortunately,
The 4th
every
Beatle.
time Paddy plays with anyone, they're like, "We should have him."
Yeah, he's in high demand. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a good lad. I've known him for a long time. So years and years ago, he played in the first couple of years of Killbillies when we got a gig at Carson's Tavern. He used to be brought by his dad. He was like under 18, or he was a young fella,
Yeah.
and he'd come and sit in with us, and it just steal the room. This young fella, and now he's a peer, and in his sort of whatever late 20s or whatever he is now. But it's crazy. I've seen him as a whippersnapper, and he's been amazing this whole time.
He's got great stage command. He just grabs it.
I love seeing him like
Very
work
cool.
the room. He does the wireless, and then he runs around the room, and everybody's dancing, and he's dancing with them while he's playing and stuff. And it's fun. It's fun to watch him play.
Absolutely, born to do it, that one. So it's funny. We've already sort of touched on it a little bit, but I feel like you guys would be. You, Andy, would be a good person to talk about this because, and we've bonded over it before with this whole sort of stopping drinking thing, and I just wonder, like, when it comes to alcohol, etc., how have you found like playing shows in bars? Do you find it challenging anymore? Like, where are you at with all of that?
It's amazing how much easier it's got. I mean, it was a real struggle. When I just first go into the open mics, just like, okay, you go and you play your 2 songs, and then you sit very quietly in a bar and you just watch everybody else drink, and you're like, But one huge thing that I don't know if I could have done it without the Perteinekens, I call them, the Heineken Zeros and all the non-alcoholic beers that taste better.
Yeah, well,
Then
a buddy of mine does it
their
that exact same
alcoholic
way. It
com-
works really well for him too. Yeah.
And it's not like I drink. There were a couple nights in the beginning where I'd have a whole bunch of them and be like, I just have. Well, all I have to do is go to the bathroom a lot. But other than that, it's just sort of manic. Like, but hey, I'm one of you too. See, it's weird. But to the point where we were playing a show 2 or 3 months ago, and I just remember being in a bar and looking around and going, wow, I'm just not feeling any kind of tractor beam on the alcohol.
Like
I just
the obsession
feel really
has been
good.
lifted.
And you know how you have your good days and you have your bad days, and they, you can't. They're never over, either of them, and you just sort of remember that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I know that I always had a predilection for it, and then through going through all of that, the recovery stuff I've gone through, I see now that, how far back it has been a thing, since I was like 13, 14, and just glad I managed to figure out at some point, and
Good on you, man.
and the not saying that that it's not going to come to an abrupt halt at some point, by accident or something, but one day at a time and all that, but yeah, like, I now enjoy myself so much more, especially playing music. I'm better at it for starters,
Right.
And it's not always this kind of chase to sort of, or this like tightrope to find the line between like, don't feel terrified to be in the room and too drunk to play.
Right.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway, good on you. Congratulations.
Thank you,
on
and
that
to you
one.
too, man. We found out when we were talking that we quit like within a week or so
that's
of each
right.
other.
Yeah. It's literally
That's right.
exactly the same amount of time.
We're on a similar journey.
Totally.
Both coming from punk, doing something else, and both
I know.
doing it sober. It's pretty cool.
Really. It's very similar actually. We're in banjo bands. There's English people around.
Right. All of our collective friends are going,
Yeah.
you have a banjo in your band? Man? The hell?
You got cheese lovers around you.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta love a bit of cheese in life.
Yeah,
It's like my new obsession.
yeah.
So the next question is one I just love to ask people. Do you practice? Do you sit at home and practice your guitar?
I do not as much as I should, but I feel like I do more than I could avoid it a lot more easily, and I'm proud of not avoiding it as much as I do. I wish
that was a pretty
I wish I was
honest
more
answer.
regimented.
Yeah.
I think most people are. Most people want to be more regimented, even if they're like playing it every day. Most people would probably want to be more regimented for sure.
Yeah, totally. What about you, Lucy?
Well, I think definitely with the bluegrass stuff, if I don't practice, then I regress. So I really have to, if I want to make strides.
Yeah, I feel like music is not like riding a bike.
No,
you
just got to keep it up. Yes.
Yeah.
So I have periods when I really just immerse myself, but yeah.
I feel it with banjo too. I mean, it's just those rolls and everything. Like James, the banjo player in our band, he practices a lot.
He's really good, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's great.
And he does have comparatively quick sort of development, but it's still it's a slog.
Yeah, it is a slog. You got just to sort of keep where you are. You got to, and then to get better, you have to do that extra mile. So,
yeah, totally.
I'm personally in awe of it. And I feel like I do have a pretty good understanding of a lot of musical instruments and music, but the banjo is still like, duh, cool.
Yeah. No, it's
how the
awesome.
heck did you do that?
James is actually James is a bass player first and foremost.
Oh wow!
And he picked up the banjo 5 years ago.
I guess
Roughly?
2018.
Yeah, 2018.
2017, 2018.
And from my understanding, it was just a conversation with you one day, and you needed a banjo player, and he said, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it."
Well,
And
he had one knocking around the house, I think, prior.
Yeah.
And then he just decided, I think he'd been messing about with it a little bit, and then he just started to take it seriously when, he joined Killbillies. This was still when I was sort of drinking and being terrible, but he's been there for me for a long time. James is a good lad.
That's cool, and he shreds. That guy. Is amazing.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, I've been in Killbillies just under 3 years now, and just in the time that I've been in Killbillies, I've seen a huge improvement.
For real.
I mean, he was good when I joined, and he's just ridiculous now compared to when I joined. So, I mean...
And it's practice. It's just sitting at home and doing it, getting it done. It's crazy. And you've been practicing too. We all have.
I've been going backwards. So.
Because Hector picked up the bass for Killbillies. Like he could already play the bass guitar,
right?
But he picked up the stand up for Killbillies, and he's made it like a ton of progress too.
It's awesome.
It's a very impressive outfit, the Killbillies. Wow,
It's been fun. It's been
I'm
fun.
surprised to hear that.
Tomorrow's my last day, but it's been fun.
Glad you like it. Would you like my place?
Do you guys need a stand-up bass player?
He keeps trying to get me to learn new instruments, and they're huge. What about you, Bill? Are you practicing these days?
I don't practice so much physically as much as mentally.
Okay.
A lot of practice is just going through things in your head and knowing what you want to do and making sure your hands can execute it.
Sure. No, absolutely. And I think that's a big part of any endeavor is, I'll find myself wandering around the house or sitting in my car for like 20 minutes, and I'll be like, I haven't done anything, but actually I have done a ton. Just ordering your thoughts. Especially with I've been doing some writing for that magazine, and I find I'm like, I think I'm not doing it, I'm ignoring it, but I'm not. I'm just like getting it sorted out so that when I go to write it, it comes out right.
Right,
And like I'm starting to be aware of that now. I'm like, go easy on myself a little bit because I am actually doing something. It just isn't physical. Well, at least that's what I tell the wife.
I swear I'm doing something.
Doing something. What? Okay, honey. See you at the arraignment.
What kind of influences would you say that Smokeboss Militia leans most into in terms of musically? Like, who would be your dream band to like play with? You know what I mean?
Say Killbillies, say Killbillies, say
The
Killbillies.
Killbillies. The Killbillies. And I have such so many answers to that question. Our band motto is genre is the enemy. Like,
Yeah.
I am just so tired of, what kind of music do you play? Good music.
Yeah, I feel that, man.
But I just hate if you say, oh, well, we do a lot of country. Like, oh, I don't like country music. Yes, you do.
yeah.
Yes, you do. Do you like
This
rock
guy
and
needs to
roll?
hear that.
Then you like country.
I hate country music.
He thinks he does. He
You
just
don't.
doesn't. He plays.
There's
He likes Johnny Cash, so he likes.
There's
country.
certain,
Yeah.
Johnny Cash is a country.
each of these genres has led to bad places, but they also lead to good places. I'm just saying, if you're trying to write off, like, I hate country music, but I love Johnny Cash. I'm like, then you don't hate country music.
Right,
You know, it's-
exactly.
Johnny Cash is a country music.
I mean, this is
You heard it here, folks.
But I just think it's so important to forget about genre when you're talking about good music. Forget about what,
I couldn't agree more.
it's an afterthought as far as, because you'll all hear our record when it comes out, and it's all over the map. The best thing we've come up with so far is outlaw singer-songwriter music,
Sure, yeah,
it's like, I don't know. It's good. You'll like it. It's positive. It moves. It has beginnings and ends, and
That's so awesome, and I think this is just a really, really good time to segue into. Why don't you guys play us a couple of songs? Sound good?
We'd love to.
Thank you.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is the first Christmas we've celebrating years. He said, let's try to sanitize monkeys from the fire. 6 feet of snow in Louisiana. Now they're powdering dust around us, singing, I will always love you as our burning nights crash through the frozen. My, yeah. Every time she called him, which was every night last year, he was busy by that surfing on the World Wide Web. Heard that was such a stand-up guy. He locked her in the cellar. Stop there and check your pulse. I think you might be there. My favorite show is on tonight. I've seen it now a million times. Yeah, this life I live has much more sense at all to me. But at least everything about it right. Come on, run out to the pawn shop, see what you can get for there. Well, it doesn't sell me software all day. When you get back to the motel room, we're gonna watch a movie sequel, and we'll heat up the jambalaya, so watch your yeah. My favorite show is on tonight. I've seen it now a million times. Yeah, this life I live ain't not much sense at all to me, but at least everything about it right. Are you sleeping, Uncle Pancakes? Take the shotguns off the bed and call the synagogue. I just sent you the best to pick up trouble. I'm gonna buy another dog. Time I have bad news, oh buddy. No one picks up down there tonight. Said something comforting as I saw the basement door. No 911, and I prayed that I was right. Greetings of Yuletide, and now my favorite show is on tonight. I
1, 2, 3, 4.
I remember, and it's funny 'cause I don't remember anything most time. You were crying 'cause I missed your call to worship even though you posted time. When I think something's wrong, I'm right. When I think something's right, I'm wrong. I'm trying to start an advice. I'm just going back where I belong. Though you wish I would just fall in line, and sometimes I wish that I could. I am not misunderstanding. I am just misunderstood. I'm back at home now. Ain't trying to figure out who did what wrong or when. Oh, who did what first. That's for some days. Believing I was lost or I've been fucking targeted or I was cursed. Well, then everything's black or white. Now you stay till I'm black and blue. Every dark day believes a dark night. Either one has a scrap of a clue. No, I'm not the hero that you want. I'm not your person, no Robin Hood. I am not misunderstanding. I am just misunderstood. And I'm not gonna do the comparison song. I'm larger than lion and taller than Hulk. I am not too demanding. I am bringing this piece of shit in for a landing. Do you understand me now? Are you having a breakthrough or having a cow? And I do not think I'm crazy, but I know I'm in that neighborhood. I am not misunderstanding. I'm just hearing too much commanding. I am not misunderstanding. I am just misunderstood.
561 Music is sponsored by Jupiter Inlet Boat Rentals. Jupiter Inlet Boat Rentals and Boat Club is Palm Beach County's premier boat rental company and boat rental club. They have been in continuous operation since the year 2000 on the beautiful waters of Jupiter Inlet. It is the affordable alternative to boat ownership. Their membership club ranks number 1 in both quality, availability, and customer satisfaction. You'll choose from their fleet of boats consisting of deck boats, dual consoles, and center consoles. Rent offshore fishing boats, deluxe cruising boats, and plush deck boats, all powered by 4-stroke outboard engines. Their vessels are fully equipped for your safety and comfort with styles suitable for ocean and intracoastal use. They are located just 2 minutes away from the mouth of Jupiter Inlet, which means fast access and the most beautiful stretch of the intracoastal. In fact, no other boat company can match their ideal location. Fishermen will be thrilled to note that sports fishing starts just a quarter mile offshore and the warm Gulf Stream is a mere 3 miles from the shore. The address is 1095 North A1A, Jupiter, Florida 33477, and you can find it at jupiterinletboatrentals.com. The telephone is 561-741-1212. In their efforts to make boating affordable, they offer rental discount membership programs that do not require a large investment up front. You pay a little to join and pay as you go. Other boat rental clubs take all your money up front, charge a monthly maintenance fee, and hope you never show up. At Jupiter Inlet Boat Club, plans start at $700 to join, and each time you take out a boat, daily fees start at just $249 plus fuel. There are no monthly fees. If you have heard of the boat club from 561 Music, please let them know when you call or go there to book a boat, and the friendly staff will take that into account and take care of you. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Seagrape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You all take a shell of Kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a Kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of Kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Route Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, you know, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. You know, there's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. All right, that was great. So we just listened to some ads, and the last ad was for Live Music Community, which is where we're sat right now and where I work. And, you know, you've already heard the ad, so you know what it's about. But could you, do you guys have any advice for upcoming musicians, people starting out?
I have one piece of advice. Do not listen to Gene Simmons.
That's a good quote, that. We cut these out, so that's going to definitely be you got anything?
Just enjoy, just love what you do, really. I think if you love it, you got to do it, you know?
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah. The old adage of... if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. All that. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's true. You got to love it.
I hate everything I do.
It took me a while to love it again. I went through a little bit of a dark patch there, but I definitely love it again now. You know, grateful for it. You know, it's my favorite thing ever. Have you got any advice there?
Enjoy playing with other people, because it's becoming a dying art, unfortunately. There's a lot of solo artists, nothing against them, but it's like talking to yourself in comparison to playing with other musicians.
Yeah, no, the profound words from all three of you, especially the Gene Simmons comment. I love it. So could you tell us a little bit about what those songs were about?
Oh, well, sure. The first one is called The Ballad of Curtis Birch. And that one was written, this whole record it spans 30 years of songwriting for me, which is really kind of fun. It's like an anthology kind of, you know.
Oh, nice.
But that was a song I wrote in the mid-'90s. And with a lot of my songs, it's not like one thing. It's like throwing a lot of stuff in, and then you sort of get a theme, hopefully.
Right. Yeah.
But that one was, I just had this, I think it was this crazy dream I had about this family watching their house burn down in the middle of a bayou, by the water in a blizzard.
Okay.
In the bayou. Like you had all the hanging stuff,
What a
but it was
cool
all
dream.
covered in icicles and whatnot.
Smoke on the water.
And they were singing "I Will Always Love You" by Dolly Parton. Well, better known by Whitney Houston, but it's actually a Dolly Parton song.
Yeah.
You country haters out there, I'm looking at you.
Why you gotta look at me?
But it spawned from that, and it just became this story of these people in these really series of terrible situations and making the best of it. And I think that's a theme in a lot of my songs is, even if it's a subject, I've been married several times with no success, and a lot of the songs are sort of reconciliations and taking a really bad situation and putting it to some really moving kind of grooving or, music that pumps a little and makes you, goes the opposite direction of the way the lyrics are going.
Put it there. That's literally my whole. That's my only approach to writing songs. That's how
It's just a fun. It's a cathartic thing. It's it's almost you write something and you're like, well, do I have any right to ever put this on anybody else? But then you play it for somebody and they go, no, that's pretty good. And then you're like, okay, I do.
Well, it's therapeutic, though. It's almost like a release.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Did we talk about both of them?
No,
Nope.
and then Misunderstood, which is about my fourth failure, matrimonially speaking.
Gotcha.
Coining words now. It's a podcast, you can make up words, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
I think that's actually a word.
Absolutely.
Matrimonially.
That one's not a word.
All right, well, good. Then I did make one.
It's
But yeah, that's just
matrimonitarily.
another situation that was just absolutely terrible, and I just sort of made it I think that one's the most kind of in the bluegrassy direction.
Yeah.
That one just kind of, it just kind of goes like that.
Yeah.
But just turning, making lemonade out of lemons kind of thing.
Sure. I mean, it's quite a track record, and I think that having any kind of sort of traumatic stuff or difficult stuff in your past is just a wellspring of creativity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's it in a way, I feel like I'm taking responsibility for it. I'm not just bashing the other person and making them the villain. It's like, no, this, everybody had maybe some good stuff, but this is what happened, and now here's how we're looking at it. We're kind of laughing out of the side of our face with.
So if you start running out of ideas and things, do you think you'll just get married and divorced again so that you can write something else? Or
No, I think that a lot of those matrimonial failures were alcohol related.
Gotcha.
That's fair.
Or induced.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I think I hang on to my marriage by the skin of my teeth there. Right? Yeah. It doesn't do well for the other person, does it? At all.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's coming up for you guys? Have you guys got a release date for the album or anything like that?
We don't have a release date as yet. We're the recording in Florida is done. I have enlisted, got Shanghaied, shakabuku'd, whatever you call it. I've got some of my heavy hitter friends who are deep in the music industry, and they've agreed to bless some tracks.
Are you guys releasing as an album, or are you going to release any singles first? Or anything
My
like that?
plan, and this is where it turns into we're interviewing you, because I have so many questions about you guys have put out a few records.
Well, this is the time to do it.
And we're figuring that out. Like, my plan is to just do a single, wait a month or two, do a couple of singles before we actually drop the record.
Yeah.
But we're trying to figure out, like, how do we get it on, I feel like I haven't been out of the picture that long, but it's an age.
Right, yeah.
It's a totally different planet I just landed on as far as getting music out there. And, obviously you got to be playing.
Have you done the whole thing with CD Baby or DistroKid and all
We're
that?
talking. DistroKid looks like the best choice right now to get the stuff up everywhere,
Yeah.
cheaply and easily. Do you have? But what? That's what I want to know. What do you guys
So we use CD Baby, yeah.
Mhm. I did that in the beginning.
Yeah, it's basically
I
these
thought
days. It's
it died.
basically no, it's still going. It's these days. It's basically the same as DistroKid. It just it does the you can put it on all the streaming services and all that.
I think
stuff.
CD Baby's just been around a little bit longer,
Right.
so those of us that have used CD Baby in the past just kind of stuck with it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it is basically the same idea. It throws it all up there. And we released our album all at the same time. Now, the reason we did that is because it had been a minute since Killbillies had released anything, and I just sort of wanted to put something like a backstop in, like this is the new band, you know? And just so when people go on Spotify, they're hearing James and Hector, the first thing they hear, and have like a bunch of tunes that's that. Now, if I know that our next release, we're not going to do like that at all. We're going to release one tune at a time and push them like that, because it definitely is the most sensible way to do it, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's looking like for me. But I'm just trying. You know, 10 years ago when I first started doing the Smokeboss tours by myself, I had a buddy in Slovenia who made rolling papers, like the big. In the Smokeboss, it just sort of fit.
Yeah.
So we did rolling papers with the download code inside.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And people, what is this rolling papers for €5? I don't know. That's 6. I'm like, no, it's rolling papers, but it's my record.
Yeah,
What do you mean the record isn't? It was just before its time. But
Right.
I'm thinking now that there are dispensaries in America all over, if I could somehow find. So if you're a manufacturer of rolling papers out there, give me a call, because
You could have some Smokeboss weed. You
Well,
could just go straight to the.
we could
you know.
go, but I just think to start would be rad is to have a box of rolling papers with the download code for the single or the
You
whatever.
could have grinders. You could do all sorts of.
Well, right, but
Well,
just
you don't even have to have it be like there was a time where I would say, like, people downloaded physically, like a digital copy to their phones or to
Right.
whatever device they were listening to, but everybody streams now. So realistically, the QR code could either be
just steer you
just
to.
Spotify, or if you're worried that somebody's not using Spotify in particular, you can have that QR code just go to a landing page on
Like
your
a link tree or
website
something.
that has like a link tree
That
or
has
something
all the-
that has Apple and whatever it is,
Like Stitcher
yeah,
and stuff.
Amazon and Stitcher and Spotify and all the main ones. At
That
least,
is a
you know.
great idea.
So it would just be a QR code that would just go there, and I mean the QR code is. I mean, you can make a free QR code anywhere on the internet.
Sure,
these
yeah,
days,
it's
you know.
easy to
Yeah,
do.
Yeah.
But I just thought it'd be cool to have a little box of
Sure.
Smokeboss wrapping papers right there at the
Yeah.
point of purchase, where they're going, oh yeah, I need rolling papers.
It's a great idea. We still do sell CDs, but like 2 a week. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
like we don't sell many.
Yeah,
They're probably more
I'm not
coasters
going to
than they
make
are
CDs. I have too
Yeah.
many friends and bands who are like, oh, do you want some of my CDs? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I sure don't.
We do sell them, but not a ton. And we did in this album. We're in the home stretch now of getting a pre-order of vinyls that we had ordered, and so this one we decided to go vinyl on this one, just because we recorded it at Sun Studios, and it just seemed like a nostalgic thing for Sun Studios, you know.
And having a vinyl is just so nice.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it was
It's
kinda cool.
so
that
fantastic,
was
and
fun.
people are doing it.
that-
I have, and some. I hope you guys are watching too, because Pirates Press. I'm going to be calling soon. I know. I
And
know
I saw
some
you
of those
ask me a
guys.
question about it. We can talk about it afterwards. For some reason, I couldn't get my head together to answer it properly, but we'll talk about it later.
Okay, but yeah, vinyls on the definitely vinyl, definitely not CDs. I just don't. I don't think CDs are expensive as hell to produce, and nobody's got CD players anymore.
But that was all
really.
part of why we released an album as opposed to a song or two at a time. Is one, it was the whole, like he said, it was that backstop of like, this is the new Killbillies. We're back to basics. This is who we are now. But also, because the whole thing was recorded at Sun Studios, we wanted to kind of release it as a, hey, this was the experience,
It's an album.
and
you
also
wanna do it
we
like
wanted
that,
to do the vinyl, and it made no sense to have a vinyl with 2 songs on it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I'm not going to lie to you. When I was doing the promotion for it, it made it a lot trickier that it was an album, because it was difficult to get a focal point. I mean, I ended up just picking like the most singly song on there and then pushing that the most, but it made it a little bit more confusing because there was like a bunch of other songs there. So it really is a better idea to release them one at a time, for sure. Like having gone through this whole process of going through all those websites, trying to get it on playlists, all that stuff. You know, if I was just dealing with one track, it would have been way easier.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the other band I'm in another band with Justin and Euphoria, and we're about to start, actually in about 2 weeks I think we're about to start recording, and it's a concept album, but I think we're going to go that route of just releasing, say, like 3 tracks at a time.
Right. And,
you know, like here's part of the story, and then, you know, a few months down the road, here's another part of the story, and then eventually you'll have the whole album, and then we'll present it as an album. But
Right.
I think it's just more fun, and you can stretch it out longer, and you can keep the interest longer.
Yeah.
As
and you don't
opposed
have to record for a long time then.
no, as opposed to like, hey, here's our album, and then 3 months down the road, you're like, and that was it.
I know you put all this effort in and spend all this time doing it, and these days it's just like, you know, you get a little bit of a flurry when it happens, and then it's just sort of in the well of
Right.
Everyone else.
dead music on Spotify that's just hanging out there. I mean, right now I've got ads running on social media and stuff. I'm still like pushing it on. I'm trying to get it on different playlists and things. So
Distribution and
still
stuff.
working at it. But you know, you got that. That's what you got to do. You've got to constantly be trying to get those plays, which is I don't know. The thing I miss about CDs is it was such a good money spinner for bands, like, because the thing is, people would come to the gig, they'd buy it when they were drunk, and they might not listen to it ever again. The thing about the streaming thing is that like they have to this sounds rather cynical, but they have to actually want to listen to it.
Right.
Like, you know, you could sell a bunch of CDs that they would never listen to at gigs, and that's just a revenue stream that is just gone. You know, it's
True.
bummer.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's no shortage of dying revenue streams for
Yeah,
bands. That's for sure.
Yeah, for real, man.
It's a growth industry.
So what are we doing this weekend then, Hector? Let's see. We have got Sailfish Brewery in Fort Pierce on Friday, and that is where we're gonna pick up the in-ears.
Oh, perfect.
So we're gonna try out some in-ears in the next couple of weeks, see if that works out for us.
Nice.
I wish you great luck. I have had no good experiences with those.
Well, I've never done it ever, and I never wanted to do it in like a rocking band.
Right.
But like in a band that's sort of more chill, like Killbillies, you know, comparatively at least, I think I could do it.
Yeah,
Our
that's true. We
biggest-
tried it as punks, and that was probably the biggest problem.
Our biggest issue,
Wrong
issue
genre.
is the upright bass. Where with the upright bass having the monitors like right there,
Yeah.
there's so much feedback all
Oh,
the time.
yeah,
It's a nightmare trying
Yeah,
to
we get
Between the accordion and the fiddle and the
just trying to
banjo,
we're always
have,
I mean we've
yeah.
gotten pretty good at it, but we're always fighting it. And so our thought process is, if we do the in-ears, maybe that takes care of some of that, and if it does, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because poor old Hector's wrestling with that whole being able to hear it versus
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but you don't have the Marshall stacks and the drums that really just make those kind of like.
Well, somehow my
Right.
guitar drives him nuts. Like, it's just too. For some reason, it's loud, and I'm sure it's my fault in some way.
It's not. It's not even that it's loud, but his guitar has a very warm, bassy tone to it, and when it comes out of those monitors, even if I don't have him in my monitor at all, we're always playing these small little stages, and he's right next to me, and so his monitor that's right next to him is still somehow, hitting
Yeah,
my
they
upright.
start communicating with each
Yeah.
other, and it starts.
And I
vibrating.
still get those warm low tones in right into the portholes there of the upright, and it's just immediate like whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why they designed the electric bass. But let's not talk about that. On Saturday I'm playing at Steam Horse Brewing for it's a charity event.
Earth Day.
It's a birthday.
No, is it an Earth Day? or
Earth
something?
Day. That's
Earth
right.
Day,
Yeah. So I'm playing.
It is
for-
a birthday for the Earth.
Yeah, there you go. It's Earth's birthday. Earth Day. Yeah, so I'm doing that at Steam Horse Brewing from 5 to 7, and then we're playing at Paddy Mac's from 9 to midnight, and that's on Saturday, and then
Gardens Green Market on Sunday. No.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
That's this Sunday.
if you've never been to Palm Beach Gardens Green Market, it's a lot of fun. It's
It is.
as green markets go. It's up there. There's some good stuff there.
Yeah, we're playing 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's it's fun. It's a really good time. There's a lot of people there all the time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd like that, man. You should look that up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
check
you
it out.
guys would kill it on there.
We're also playing Earth Day. Saturday, the Smokeboss Militia will be at the,
Port St. Lucie Earth Day Festival.
I think it's
cool.
just St. Lucie in the name. But yeah, that's why I keep screwing it up.
No port.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
river rather than
Just-
the town.
Oh, St.
Right.
Lucie.
St. Lucie.
Well, we'll be
Okay.
there from 2 to 5, and we sure love it if you came out.
Yeah, wicked. Have you guys got any other gigs coming up?
We do. We have Shash Bash.
Shash Bash.
it's
that's my
Shash's birthday.
party.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that
Shash.
Shash is your other name, alter ego.
We're using
Yes.
code names. We're using code names now. I'm the Smoke Boss. That's Shash.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So when's that?
That's May the 26th.
Oh, cool.
At
And that's
birthday.
at the Brew
Brewhouse
House.
Gallery.
Yes.
Yeah, wicked.
And then, one more. And then June 1st, we'll be at Clematis by Night.
Yeah.
And we are also legends on the lawn.
right. I know, and
We didn't know we were either.
and we're playing Clematis by Night in June as well because our one got cancelled in April. So
June 29th.
yeah, we're like following each other around, guys.
We're doing a lot of the same stuff.
Eventually, we'll do the same stuff on the same day on the same stage.
Well, right. I mean, that's the one. If I can make one Florida gripe, one band per show
Yeah.
is crazy.
We're changing that. Don't worry.
We've got to. We've got to start
561
doing
is gonna-
shows together.
561 is going to start doing some pop-up shows, and we're going to start doing some themed ones where maybe one is all punk bands,
Right.
maybe one, and it won't be it won't be like the festival with 20 bands, but we'll do 3 bands or something.
2 or 3 is
yeah.
great. And,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's
Well,
not
that-
a new thing where bands play for the whole night and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it's just from where I came from,
Yeah.
we had 4 or 5 bands a night, which is too much.
The big thing is
But-
that a lot of bands down here are working bands, and
Yeah.
so it's hard. You can't pay a band, whatever you're going to pay them. You can't pay them, $500 to play 30 minutes,
Right.
Yeah.
and then have 4 bands playing that night at $500-600 a pop.
I mean, really, quite honestly, that's why. But
I
you know,
realize
and
it's
there's
the
a difference
economic
between that
thing
kind
for
of like
sure.
entertainment, bar entertainment for the evening versus a show. It's
Right.
2 different things, and we try to blur the lines with it, as much as possible. But it's responsible for a pretty big part of my income. So
Sure.
I'm not trying to rock the boat too much.
Absolutely. Oh, right. And we want to play your place, and we'll take whatever, But I just, it's just a personal gripe, and obviously I'm in here, and I'm here to play, and
Oh, yeah.
everybody, all the places we played at know that how we do. We come and we just try to make sure everybody has a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Including the band. It's because if the band isn't having fun, then nobody else is going to.
Yeah, for sure.
1,000%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, how about 2 bands a night? There's got to be some way we can work this out. So because I think attention spans have dropped
Yeah.
400% in the last 5 years. And to expect somebody to hang for 3 hours for the same band,
Watching the same band for
How-
3
no matter-
hours.
no matter how
when
good
it
they
was.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no matter when it was, that's a long time to watch the same band.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's just like you're dreaming.
Well, because the bars and the venues typically expect the bands to be more of a jukebox than a band. They want
Right.
you to play a little bit of everything, and that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
Especially
Well,
the
except
tribute acts.
For the Smokeboss Militia is ready to meet that challenge. We play every damn thing.
I'm looking forward to your bubblegum rap album.
with banjo.
Track 3.
Thanks so much for coming, guys. We really appreciate it. I think Hector's got a bit of a spiel he's
I
going to do.
don't know what to say. I usually, right about now, I give a 15-minute spiel about the festival, but the festival's over, so no festival talk. So all I got is like and subscribe. Follow us on all the social medias at 561 Music Podcast.
Yeah.
Our website is 561music.com, and on that website you can submit to be on the podcast. You can donate to the podcast. You can become a sponsor of the podcast. You can check out Killbillies from there. I don't know what else is on there. There might be some dating apps or something. I don't know. There's a little bit of everything. Oh, you can order. We have some leftover shirts from the 561 Music Festival. So
That's right.
if you are still in need of your 561 Music shirt because you did not pick it up at the festival, or you did not make it to the festival, or you just didn't have any money that day, or you're just a terrible individual and didn't want to support a lot of local music,
You can redeem yourself.
You can redeem yourself by going to 561music.com. There is a link in there, and you can order festival shirts. We have very limited supply of certain colors and certain sizes.
We've got like every size, but like depending on
yeah,
what
we
color
pretty much
you
have
want.
every size, but not in every color.
Yeah.
And then that's for this year's festival. There
Yeah.
are a very, very limited supply, of last year's festival, but those are on there as well.
They're pretty cool T-shirts. So,
yeah.
I wear mine all the time.
As well as the lanyards and stuff that the bands and everybody had for the VIP stuff.
Yeah.
We have a small handful of both of those from both years as well that we're selling off.
I bet you they'll sell like super sparingly, but then in like 20 years when they're like vintage and weird, there'll be like this huge demand.
That would be like $1 million, and then I'll kick myself for not keeping one.
But yeah, I mean that's basically it, right?
That's it, because there's no
Yeah.
festival to talk about until next year. But
Yeah.
we can start talking about it now. $10, 20 bands, April something. I don't know.
Or maybe we'll move it to the end of March so that we escape the rain. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. I mean, it was April 1st. So
Yeah,
like, how into March do we really have to get? We basically were in March.
Yeah,
I mean.
it's fair. It's fair. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
was
yeah.
such a
Thanks.
great. It's just great to meet you, man.
Likewise.
We have a lot in common.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
cool.
totally.
Thank you,
Yeah,
fellas.
it's been lovely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having
Thank
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my pleasure. See you later.